helping others communicate science to the public. I, as a dietitian, I'm very passionate about evolution of science and how it impacts the general public.
Do you ever have so many questions and no one to ask, so they're just wasting away on Google searches you'll forget about in an hour or so?
We had that same problem, and that's why we created the RD2BE podcast, a resource for dietetic and nutrition students looking for answers that their peers don't have.
We are students Macy and Emily and registered dietitian Carl Barnes. We engage in conversations and learn from RDs.
Join us weekly as we gain insight into the unique journeys of registered dietitians all over the country.
Welcome back to another week of the RD2BE podcast. I'm your registered dietitian host, Carl Barnes. This is our fantastic podcast where each week we sit down with a different registered dietitian on our mission to provide resources and information to RD2Bs and nutrition students anywhere on their journey, really to highlight the diversity of opportunity in the profession and to destroy this notion that there's a traditional career path in the dietetic profession. So we are sitting with, as always, another awesome registered dietitian this week. We're joined by Wendy Shaw. She's a branch chief at USDA's National Agricultural Library. Very honored to have you here, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
As always, I'm Emily, or RD2BE from University of Maryland. Thank you, Wendy, for being here. So would you mind telling us about your passion to become a registered dietitian and work in the field of dietetics?
Sure. I think it started with, I come from a family that loves the outdoors, enjoys eating great food, fresh food from the garden and farm, and eating as a family. I grew up visiting my grandmother in New England, who would make all of her meals from scratch, go to the garden to pick fresh vegetables. And when we were on our way driving up there, we would tell her about what pie we wanted her to make for the weekend. So she would make all kinds of fresh foods for us. And I think she helped drive my passion and inspire me to enjoy food, enjoy the experience of eating food, and learn about food. In addition to that, my other grandmother kept a kosher kitchen. So I learned about different cultures with eating and keeping separate silverware and plates for eating. And that also fascinated me as well. So I think at a young age, I learned a lot about food and nutrition. And in addition to that, I've always been an active person, a prior athlete. So I think the combination of having the interest in being an athlete and food nutrition had helped me to become a dietitian.
Definitely. So what made your program stand out to you?
What made my program stand out to me? I had excellent professors and adjunct instructors that worked in the field of dietetics. So I learned about different areas of dietetics besides, in addition to clinical, learned about working in the supermarket, media relations, sports nutrition. So the program helped expose me to different areas of practice in nutrition, which was really great.
For those who don't know what a coordinated program is, would you mind talking about that?
So a coordinated program for a bachelor's degree, I understand that a lot of the guidance is changing, but for a bachelor's degree, what I received was a 4-year degree, and in that 4-year degree, the last year has a combination of internships in addition to the curriculum. And typically the internship is connected to the university. Hopefully it's within that area of the university, compared to a didactic where it could be in a different area of the United States, separate from where you had your degree. So for me, it was a great benefit because I was able to complete both my clinical internship as well as my curriculum in one area.
Yeah, that's really good for you. So you don't have to like move places, find preceptors, find a place to go to, stuff like that. So I know you only applied to one internship, but what do you think is important for students to take into consideration when they're looking for internship schools or master's programs?
great question. I think it would be helpful for students to, of course, look at the schools that are highly rated uh, and talk to other past students to gather their experiences and what they enjoyed about the program, or even have conversations with current professors to get a better understanding of the program. I'd also encourage you all to look at the curriculum that's offered at each school to see if the learnings are what are in line with what you'd like to receive for your degree.
Yeah. So, what made you want to pursue a master's of business opposed to a master's of public health or a master's of science and nutrition?
Um, I had always been interested in communications and marketing, and food and agriculture, and combining the two. So that's what inspired me to go and get a master's of business with a focus in marketing. It helped me to obtain positions in diverse areas where I supported supermarkets as a consumer affair in the consumer affairs professionals. I worked with apple growers and processors, and it also helped me step into the PR communications world by having this degree. Um, it definitely helped me in having a diverse offering to employers for positions that I desired, helped me become a strategist and a manager. And it also helped me understand how companies are structured and roles and responsibilities of staff.
How do you think having an MBA has helped you in the USDA in particular?
I think having an MBA has helped me um, uh, with developing strategies for programs, supporting budget management, uh, developing, hiring, and managing staff, helping with communications and education of information, and helping to translate science into communications for the public.
Most definitely. And then I also knew you were an adjunct professor at GWU. So what made you want to teach there opposed to, Pittsburgh?
At GW,
Yeah.
well, GW is a highly rated and well-known institution with excellent programs in health and nutrition and wellness. So I've always been interested in being involved with the university. And in addition, I've been interested in helping educate students because I had the experience that I had at University of Pittsburgh, where I was exposed to a lot of areas of dietetics. I wanted to share that with students to help them understand the different paths that they could take with nutrition.
So at what point do you, I guess, feel ready to be a professor and talk to students about all the knowledge you have?
For me, I felt that since I had more than 10 years of experience in various areas of dietetics, that I could offer that skill set and understanding and resources to students at that point of my career.
So before working for the government, you worked in a clinical setting. So how did you transition from clinical work to consulting work within the government?
Um, so it was an easy transition because the position that I found was a nice combination of skills that I had generated from all of my prior positions. It combined not only my knowledge of nutrition and food safety, but my understanding of developing programs and websites and databases and communicating that to the public. So for me, it was an easy transition. And in addition, I'm very passionate about the world of agriculture, communicating science, working with scientists. So it blended well with what I was looking for.
So you mentioned a bunch of skill sets that you already had. So how do you think your skill set has further evolved? with like your two positions at US?
Great question. So I started as a program lead for nutrition and food safety and came in as a content and technical expert. And being at the library, I've developed a greater understanding of how the library can support collection, development, and digitization of information for various audiences. Um, I've also been able to hone my skills in web development, data development, because everything now is digital and online and through the web. So I think as part of many jobs, but especially with the library, everyone wants to find information online. So I've definitely been able to enhance my skills in those areas. And I think with regards to research, education, and communication, that's a continuous effort with every position that I've had that continues to grow based on experiences, learning from other staff, even learning from students and the questions that they might ask when they're interning at the library or within USDA.
So how did your RD credential help you at your current job?
So being a dietitian and having the credentials helped me because nutrition and food safety are two of the main research areas within USDA. So having that general understanding of the research and being able to interpret the research and interpret the science is a useful need for USDA.
Great. And then what kind of roles can a dietitian have at, the National Library, like the one you work at?
Sure. So there's many areas of responsibility that dietitians where they can play a role. They can, of course, help support scientific discoveries, kind of going along the lines of translating the information for the public, helping the public understand what research is being produced by the scientists across USDA, helping to educate the public on the resources that are available, both at the library and across USDA, support outreach and communications, which could be social media, traditional media, conference participation, supporting collection of resources and information to make sure that there's credible information available across the library and across the USDA that can be communicated to the public, supporting data management, web development. Our RDs that work with us at NAL are trained to be content managers in web development. So that is a great skill that our staff learn that is not what a typical dietitian would know for web development. So we have that opportunity. And in addition, learning the process and supporting literature reviews, helping the general public, scientists, and others that may contact the library about topic areas in nutrition and food safety and other agricultural topics, helping them find the resources that they need, helping them understand what new literature is available that could answer their questions.
So I remember, walking into a library, it's very, nerve-wracking. There's so many different things, like it's hard to navigate. So as a dietetics student that, we're hearing about this, if someone's interested in going into the USDA, how would you suggest I don't want to say brace ourselves, but like become knowledgeable about, properly using and utilizing a library?
So I think the first step would be, even at other libraries across the country, there's always a reference or support team that you can go to when you enter a library to help you start your navigation of where do I go, identifying what questions you have that need to be answered, and to help you determine what resources or what steps you need to take to find the resources that you need. The library has many experts on staff and a wealth of information, and it can be overwhelming. So I think the first step would be to find a contact at the library, a librarian that can support you in identifying your needs and finding the resources that you need to answer those questions.
Great. And then, I drive past the National Agricultural Library every day. So it's a huge building. Is it just filled with nutrition information and stuff like that, and just info about agriculture, or is there, other stuff within it?
So there is both hard copy and digital information in the library. There's archived information. There's a special collections area where we have information dating back to the 1700s in all areas of agriculture. So the National Agricultural Library is known for having all of that content across various agricultural areas to support USDA as well as the general public. So I can't even begin to tell you right now all of the great findings you can find at the library, but I encourage you to go to the website and look across the topic areas and resources that can help you with perhaps a research assignment and new information that you might want to find on various nutrition topics or food safety topics.
So what kind of projects do you oversee and are you involved with that relate to nutrition and dietetics?
So my role, I am a branch chief of information and customer service within the information products division at the library. And I oversee multiple content areas in agriculture. With regards to nutrition and food safety, there are 3 programs that I oversee. One is called nutrition.gov. It's a website and a program that targets the general consumer audience. And the website is comprised of various topic areas for the consumer, resources, education materials to help you and others. The other program and website is the Food Nutrition Information Center. And FINIC, it's a short name for it, targets the educator or health professional. So this is where the dietitian might go to find information on the latest research, curriculum information, and other materials that might be needed to educate others. The other nutrition and food safety program is the Food Safety Research and Information Office that also has an accompanying website. It's a federally mandated program where the library tracks research developments, projects, and publications targeting the food safety scientist. And lastly, the library has a lot of collections, many digital collections and exhibits, and I encourage you to check them out, historical information and present day. And one of them is the Historical Dietary Guidance Digital Collection. The Historical Dietary Guidance Digital Collection has a wealth of education resources from across the federal government from the 1800s to date. And the materials in this collection can be very useful for educators and students because it will help you to understand how nutrition guidance has evolved across the federal government over the past several decades. So it's a very great resource, digital resource. It's freely available. All of the resources that we have at the library are freely available in nutrition and food safety.
Wow, those sound awesome. So, and then I guess going into what opportunities are there for students and new graduates at the Agricultural Research Services at USDA?
Great question. There are lots of opportunities. First, I would encourage students and graduates to check out a website called USAjobs.gov. This is where you can find positions, internship opportunities. There are internship opportunities year-round for students across USDA. They could be in the summer, they could be during the school year. So I encourage students to visit that website, usajobs.gov.
Great. And then I guess I can finish with my last question. What's your favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job is helping others communicate science to the public. I As a dietitian, I'm very passionate about evolution of science and how it impacts the general public, communicating and helping my team communicate that information to the public.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we appreciate you sitting down, talking with us, and really giving us insight as to what, the USDA does.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you sharing that insight, and it shows you've got this passion for both learning and for educating. And I think that's something most dietitians have, but it really comes off in how you've leveraged your career and all of that. So thank you so much. As always, for those listening, we sit down with a different registered dietitian each week. New episodes drop every Sunday, and we'll see you on the next one.